Conrad, can you come in a little bit? Hello, we're back. Well, why don't we start off with how I felt the class went? I thought it went pretty well. I thought that the subject was close to the kids' interests. As I said in my reflection, that later on in the class after the video, we had some real issues with getting into Google Classroom, but I think I've sorted that out as well, or at least come up with a good idea. Did you have some comments you wanted to make, Mr. Conrad? Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah. No, I think that you made some good connections to previous knowledge where you asked them about a login or what it means to hand something in on Google Classroom, and then they could relate it to Seesaw,
Mm-hmm.
and they could give what is this whole concept of handing something in, and so that you can grade it and evaluate it. Yeah, I liked the idea of including the pictures of fossils to illustrate leaving a digital. That's what I'm looking for.
Footprint?
Footprint. Thanks. And yeah, I thought it was really engaging for the kids to be able to look at the pictures and then discuss. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Well, what did you think? I think you maybe have a comment about how that came across on the video. Is that right?
Well, I mean, in terms of video quality, I think that it was a little the exposure levels were a little thrown off just because of the auto exposure, and so it was hard for me to see exactly what they were looking at.
Right.
But I gathered from the conversation that they were looking at fossils or animals.
So, not to
Go
interrupt completely, but I have actually been exporting the files at a lower quality from iMovie, so maybe that's the issue. I need to go back up to a higher quality so you can see better.
Yeah,
maybe that's the issue, because I think previously the other video you could see the screen.
Yeah. One thing I thought was a little bit maybe unclear for the students was that, just for some positive or constructive criticism, was you were many times asking for the students to discuss, to not answer or shout out what their answer was, but that they could discuss in groups and then relay. And I think sometimes that transition was maybe not clear. Sometimes you were asking for them to talk in groups, and sometimes you were calling on individual students.
Right.
And so I think
be a bit clearer with those.
Yeah, maybe be a bit clear, and then also even if you want to avoid doing actual physical printouts of some of the imagery that they're talking about, to talk about digital footprint, maybe even if there was a way to have them have images on their iPads that they could use as a discussion material.
That's a good idea.
Discuss, and then maybe even have a representative for the group who will then present the ideas to the class.
That's a great idea.
So, so that it's not those eager kids raising.
Yeah, maybe I choose the representative of the group, or just
could be.
That could be a good way of doing it. Or maybe I could have put all that onto Google Classroom itself, so they could have had the images right in front of them to look at. I was aware that there can be a big lag while logging into Google Classroom, so I didn't want to start the class that way. And I was right, I think, this time, because it took forever later. But I think that in the future I should think more about having it right in front of them on the technology.
Yeah. I like that you also brought in your daughter as the example of your daughter in the iPad, because it helps them see you as a teacher, as not as just an authority figure, but also as a person that can relate to their world and how they see the world.
Absolutely. I enjoyed that part of the class, asking them what they thought was appropriate, how much time they thought was appropriate. And I think that every single one of them understands how much time is actually okay. I think it's, as a parent, you can sometimes be thinking, oh, they don't understand, they just think it's okay. But I think kids really, they get it. They get what's appropriate, I think, in a lot of cases.
And what's healthy.
That's healthy, yeah. Right, well, let me look at the other. So I thought that I managed to meet Standard 5, which was our application of content, which was working in sort of a bigger picture. And that was where we talked about, just about at the end of the video, we started talking about this example of this character, this person, Camilla's footprint, and whether or not actually she's really in control a lot of these times that she's the time that she's on the internet and things where she's online. Sometimes parents, as I mentioned during the talk, will take pictures and put them up without children's consent or without children really understanding. And where does that image go and who gets to see it? That was where I was trying to bring that out. And I think we talked about it a bit later in the lesson. I think it was an interesting discussion as well.
Yeah, I think that, because you're having to pare down your videos to 15 minutes, I think that whole discussion wasn't super clear.
Okay.
But I realized that was a part of your lesson plan and part of what you got into.
I think I should have left that longer and cut up the earlier clips. I think to be shorter, which I'll think about next time.
But I think all in all, good, well done, and well executed.
Thank you very much.